What's up, everyone? This is Nate, and I am back with another top 5 video. So I did a couple of directors previously. Started with Steven Spielberg, my favorite director of all time. Then I did my top 5 favorite Ridley Scott films, another director that I like quite a bit. And this week, I'm going to be doing another director that I really enjoy. Older, one of the just greatest filmmakers in history. Someone who I discovered later in life. I did not watch these movies when I was younger at all. All these were stuff I've watched probably in the last 10 years or so. And that's going to be Alfred Hitchcock. So Alfred Hitchcock, a prolific filmmaker, tons of movies. I have seen a good number of his movies, and there's still some that I would like to watch. That being said, I've seen a good amount and enough where I have a top 5 list that I would like to show. Now, some of these movies are probably like his most popular ones. They're popular for a reason usually. So these are my top 5. If you are an Alfred Hitchcock fan, of course, share your top 5 in the comments down below. I would like to know which ones you enjoy the most. If you would, of course, please also drop a like on the video and also subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and hit the bell icon. That way, every time we drop videos or go live, you get to see them and be notified. So starting off with my 5th favorite. So this is my number 5. This is a movie that I watched maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and I absolutely loved it. When I was going through my sort of Hitchcock filmography watching, this one always stuck out as one I enjoyed, even though I saw it fairly early on. And that's going to be from 1940. The movie's called Rebecca. This is the Criterion Blu-ray. This movie's great. Laurence Olivier is in it, Joan Fontaine. It's essentially a murder mystery type movie, and the performances are great. The storyline is really strong. It is based on a novel. A lot of Hitchcock's movies were like based on novels and things like that. So yeah, the direction, this is great. This was pretty early on. This was before, this was still like when he was making films, I think mostly in like England and stuff like that. So yeah, this movie is great. 130 minutes, flies by. Honestly, the story is very intriguing. Really good. If you've not seen it or checked it out, I definitely recommend it. Get on that Criterion sale, $20, Rebecca. It's really good. All right, my next one is one that is probably higher up on other people's list. I do like the film a lot. Obviously, it's in my top 5. I just like the other ones a little bit more. But my number 4 is going to be Vertigo. Now, this is, of course, I think it was on like the top AFI top 100 movies of all time or something. Like, it was always number 1 for a long time. I think Citizen Kane jumped it. But either way, this movie's great. James Stewart stars in this one. I think he's in 3 of my top 5. So I think the Hitchcock-James Stewart relationship yielded a lot of great films. This is one of them. Another one that is sort of a mystery movie. Later Hitchcock, so not as early, like not the 40s or anything like that, but great performances, great visuals. This one is very visually stunning at times, especially for the time. And a great plot, great performances. Also, Kim Novak is in this. She's really good. James Stewart, of course, really good. So Vertigo is my number 4. There are 3 other ones I just like better. Of course, my number 3. So this is from a collection of movies. But if you could see it here, it's this one. It's called Rope. So Rope is going to be my number 3. This movie's way ahead of its time. The whole thing is told in one take. It's not shot in one take because, of course, back then, they didn't really have the ability to. I think that the film reels weren't long enough to actually film a movie, but the whole story takes place in real time. So even though there are edits that they tried to hide here and there, it is told in real time. Like when the movie starts, if it's however long, 90 minutes, it is a story that is set within 90 minutes of time. James Stewart, again, another James Stewart movie. And I mean, this one, I don't want to ruin it. It's essentially he's the master of suspense. So it's a suspenseful, another one that revolves around a murder. And again, it's all set in one location in real time. And it is quite great. It's quite great. I'm surprised that, I don't know if it's ever been remade, but I'm surprised they haven't really tried to like remake it. I think it's a fantastic, I hope they don't remake it, but I'm surprised they haven't tried to. My number 2 is probably a lot of people's number 1, and that's going to be Psycho. So I love Psycho. I think it is a perfect movie. There's nothing about it I would change. Anthony Perkins is great as Norman Bates. Of course, Janet Leigh's fantastic in it. And that whole twist with her character, if you've not seen it, I won't spoil it. But, you think you go into movies, especially at that time, right? Thinking, the setup and this is what's going to happen. And this movie really just sort of comes out of nowhere and flips that on its head and says, oh, you thought this character was safe? They're not. Or you thought this character was this and they're not. And it was way ahead of its time in that regard, as far as kind of having that twist. It also has like a twist ending, which is pretty great. And yeah, I mean, Psycho is another one. Perfect film, great score. I love the music in this movie, and I love the performances. Everything about it is just fantastic. But it's not my number one. So my personal favorite Alfred Hitchcock movie, I saw this after Psycho, but I just fell in love with it, and that is going to be Rear Window. I think James Stewart is great in this. He is a wheelchair-bound photographer, and he essentially sees or thinks he sees a murder. Another movie that is just set in this apartment, and all you have is the apartment and what he sees out of the window in his like apartment building. And he essentially sees a murder, or so he thinks, and is trying to like solve it while being wheelchair bound. Grace Kelly is in this. She's stunning. Not just beautiful to look at, but a great actress, a great performance, great suspense in this one. It holds up well. You know, like this, I think that Disturbia, the movie Disturbia with Shia LaBeouf, was kind of like a modern version of this, but Rear Window, the original, is way better. So those are my top 5 favorite Alfred Hitchcock movies: Rebecca, Vertigo, Rope, Psycho, Rear Window. If I was showing somebody for the first time Alfred Hitchcock films, these are the 5 I would show them. And if they didn't like them, then I don't think they like him as a director. So that's just my top 5. Please, again, in the comments down below, share your top 5 and let me know what you think. Next week, I'll be back with another director ranking. I'll be doing John Carpenter, which was requested by Rob. Robert Makes the Cut, one of our patrons. So I'll be doing John Carpenter next week. Until then, take it easy.